Welcome back, guys, to the Great Ace Attorney Adventures, where last episode, on showing Inspector Gregson the representation papers we'd obtained from Gina Lestrade, we began our investigations of the pawnbroker, with Iris Wilson revealing she'd created a gun that fires out a chemical that can color blood, allowing us to identify if it comes from a particular source, before she taught us how to view stereoscope images without a device, with the receipts from the stored items seemingly being a stereoscope set. Having identified blood on one such ticket as being thrice-fired Masons, we have now headed into the scene of the crime, with Inspector Gregson accompanying us as we now ask about Sholmes' operation. Gregsy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he?
The thing is,
Don't mix your words, Inspector, please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is...
No, the operation's done and dusted. It's just,
Out with it.
Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive.
The whole body? Anesthetized? Is that even possible?
It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep.
Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for tooth extraction.
The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours from dinner off, or so I hear. And now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently.
Oh my!
No one knows if it's the anesthetic still in the system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again.
Hurley?
The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I should get word to you.
What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. I guess then that I start examining things. But we have not yet done that. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Poor Mr. Windibank. He was a nice old man.
Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely, the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing.
This must be his blood then. Ah! I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action. A deep blue. So now we know the color the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Windibank's blood. And it doesn't match our analysis of the bloodstain we found in the main shop. No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway. The blood samples portfolio has been updated in the court record. I haven't actually looked at that blood samples portfolio, to be honest. We had, what was it, pink blood on that one? We have green blood there, it's unidentified. Oh, this is pretty cool. One broker's ticket, so his blood was purple, not pink. And blue-blooded is Mr. Windibank. Oh, I like this portfolio. This is great. Very neatly arranged. Added color. This is a revolver. A real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Runa look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibank with this yesterday, didn't we?
I shall have to take my own life.
It must be the same gun. Which means we need to check it. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand. Mr. Windibank told us he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired. So we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Do they have the way of identifying the bullet's fingerprints, so to say? Out of all the articles in this storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. Ah! What is it, Iris? That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in. Oh! Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. That telling you. We must check inside the box at once. Yes. Was it not locked before? Ah! It was there. Iris's story was there. Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited here, but still. It's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well-hidden frown. Iris's manuscript has been entered into the court record. Say, what is that marker? The Hound of the Baskervilles indeed. Is there anything going on in this? Doesn't look like there's anything special going on with any pages. Nothing hid within. Quite a big thing, though. The Hound of the Baskervilles. How did Susanna-san know exactly the title of this unpublished story? I suppose I'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Okay then. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them. I can't believe how many there are. A bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, even some enormous paintings. Look! Pieces of different people's lives quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policeman shuffling around, and the pool of blood. Not much I could do about that, sunshine. Guess Gregson's listening in then. Nothing with the keys, the bike, the light, these posts, the ship. Stuff over here is sorted too. Looks like we've examined the room, but we haven't obviously done everything yet. There's no left or right. We had no prompt to move on or go anywhere, which normally we would get, so... Is it time for me to do a little bit different? So this is the... not the latest picture we've obtained. Is that blood there? I wasn't looking at that. It looked like it was a smear mark. Mr Windibank appears to have used the back of this photograph to write our redemption ticket. He's written it very neatly, but still, perhaps he ran out of paper, so had to use anything he had at hand. It's hard to know what's the front and what's the reverse side now. I just thought there was like some kind of smear, but you can always examine this. Okay, we got our representation papers, our blood samples, the coat redemption ticket, which we check the blood sample of. Just checking some stuff here. So date deposit is 15th of February at 10:30. So this was, of course, deposited first. Let's try that. Inspector, what do you make of this?
Ah, what are we here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to hand. Yes, it's the ticket for McGilda's overcoat. The one that little diver turned up with yesterday. That's not the one I gave you, was it?
Oh, actually, no, it's not.
Really? Think you know better than me, do ya?
No, I didn't mean to, Runo's right, Grexy. It isn't the same ticket.
Of course it isn't, of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So, what's all this about then, if I might be so bold as to ask?
This is a second ticket.
A second one?
It seems that Mr. McGill in fact had another article in storage here at Windibank's.
Is that right?
I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, good, because he's ever so easy to talk to.
Right, we found the right answer straight away.
No move on prompt.
Made super suspicion happen. What if I try to give you this as well? I wonder how he'd react. Would he be, well, you might ask if he's in it.
Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest?
Yes, my latest story. It's called The Hound of the Baskervilles.
A most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating, and I don't suppose, would there be any mention of my humble self in the tale this time?
Good question. I can't really remember.
I see. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I'll just wait its publication with eager anticipation.
You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't be doing anything particularly remarkable.
You're looking to be arrested, Sunshine.
I didn't mean it like that. Even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you?
Nothing's really going on there, right?
Well, we didn't have much to choose from, so with the right answer, let's see where the second redemption ticket takes me. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilda's overcoat.
You mean to tell me?
Yes, there was more than just a music box disc, it seems.
I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examine it properly.
Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGill had deposited another article here with Mr. Windibank.
Yes, I can see it right here. A small box, was it?
Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any idea at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. It could be an important clue.
Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce from you, Sunshine. There is one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it?
Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here then?
That's right. It's been forfeited.
Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop where the forfeited items are offered for sale.
Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once. You're wasting your time.
Oh?
There are dozens of little boxes out there, hundreds even. Can't possibly know which one might be McGilded's. That information's not written in the ledger.
Ugh. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case.
Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure.
Is this getting old?
And that's the moving on scene we were looking for.
Ah! I nearly jumped out my skin there. How could Mr. Windibank set such a wicked trap? I doubt he set up to scare anyone. I feel like we just got a reminder, though. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Oh? Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be a lawyer.
Really? Did I say that?
Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching.
In that case, we'd better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again.
So we're not talking to Sholmes or, like, investigating further here?
I'm kind of confused that we're not checking out more.
Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered for sale. That's right, they've all got little price labels on them, but there are so many. I wonder if the small box this ticket was for is still on the shelf somewhere.
The box that McGilda deposited just over 2 months ago.
Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes. It could be any one of them.
Mr. Sholmes said that a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything, more secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps this small box of Mr. McGilda's contains something of very great value.
Well, if that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked.
So then we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open.
Yeah! That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. I won't let that happen.
This takes me back. It's been some time since Suzuda-san last threw me. I guess we're not examining things then, so we've actually been stopped from further investigating here. I need to further investigate anything else is the question, though. Alright, we can always click on that because of the blood. That guy's representative of that. Or it's just things become available to be examined again. Seemingly not really an apparent reason. I don't know. Well, it wants us to leave. So is that what we do at this point? I guess we might see Holmes on the bed if we... No, we don't even see... So he's not actually out of the operating theatre into his bed yet. He's still being looked over. So the only place we can go is the prison? Gina, good. You're back. The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Guinea? Was it awful? Didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate a Windibanks. Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying. That I did it. That's not... Gina, we came to ask for your final decision. What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. What have we uncovered indeed? We're going to tell you. Oh, alright then. Blimey. Give it a rest with them eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know now why you broke into Windibanks that night. It looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason and thrust it in Gina's face. Or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. Well, we know that she was there to prove something.
She wanted to take the Hound of the Baskervilles over. What am I doing? I still, like, go into the evidence every time, and I'm like, well, I've got to present it by, like, clicking on it for some reason instead of pressing triangle. It's just... I expect things to do differently. I've got to go to the present thing. God. There we go. I expect to go court record, then present, but it throws me every time, this. We found this in Mr Windibank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story. Ah! Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windibank showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception. The box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina? You broke open the box containing this manuscript last night. Eh? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Ah! Why don't you tell us what happened? Please. Okay, so we've unlocked another conversation dialogue section. Of course, we go normally in order, but with happier music, we ask about the representation in court. We already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk. That is, if you'll allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Ginny, rip them up and chuck them, would ya? Them representation papers or whatever they're called. This cell ain't fancy enough to have a bin. So, what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on my own. I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. Well, let's move on to what we've learned or what we've uncovered. We'll tell her, or get her to tell us, why she was in there. Alright, yeah. This Baskervilles story. It's the latest showman's adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least £5,000. What? So you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No, Ginny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I wasn't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the manuscript, or whatever you call it, really was there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't it? Isn't that right? Ah! We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Ginny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't at Windibank's. You'd soon see if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean, that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you. Alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris.
The reason for breaking in.
It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest, if he'd really deposited the manuscript at Windibank's. It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway. Last night when I was listening to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy. You mean they're not the adventures of a great detective, so much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Giddy. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will ya? I hate all this chummy nonsense, Gia. I hate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, Scarper. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat are some very suspicious red stains. What? Why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. Which ones? Just the... Oh, I guess the entire thing, yeah? Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. What? Blood, Mr. Naruhodo? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So could it be blood that's spattered from Mr. Windibank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Guinea. I'm going to shoot. Oh. Oh my! What the? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see. Who had the purple blood? Aha, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What? What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story. Well, there we go. The truth of the omnibus case. It's not something we didn't already really know. We can see now that the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGilda's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. Excuse, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet. No. If that was what had really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGilda's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, Magnus McGilded. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last. And I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. We really didn't do that. How could I have let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him, though? Did you believe Mr. McGilda was innocent? I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon. A lawyer's weapon indeed. Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama?
Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie. Which is why we must resort to our primary weapon.
An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief.
Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly.
What's funny, Gina? Cool, sounds like in this Empire of Japan you come from. Everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into, believing in that bog trotter.
Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free.
Well, at least you've learnt your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one. Get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I'll bet that's what he wants and all now, Mr. Armor Believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo?
A lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened.
Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Are you half-baked?
Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you?
What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously, Mr. Naruhodo? Didn't you hear what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off my tongue. And I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you into all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you choose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down.
It's true that I'm just a student of law and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I'm completely on your side.
What? What do you expect me to say to that? Then it's decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern liar. I don't know what you are. I don't get ya.
Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out alright in the end, I think. And that was our thoughts as we went to sleep by the look of it.
Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. What's going on? What's going on? So we leave you for a cliffhanger at the end of this episode, of course. Someone's here in the jail cell when I thought things were wrapping up, bringing themselves to a conclusion for us to move on. Shom's still asleep. We'll never even get to see what he saw at this point in time, or hear what he saw. Let's find out who's there. Next time on The Great Ace Attorney with Susato, bringing us straight back into it. I'll see you then for more. Bye-bye.